Welcome back to another edition of Dro Talks Audiobooks. Dro here. Today I'm participating in a other collaboration. This collaboration was created by the Hungry Bookworm. Link to her channel will be in the description box below, with a lot of love from Simone. And this collaboration is going to embark in several YouTubers that are dedicated to book channels. So the way this is going to work is we all submitted one question. We're going to answer these questions to the best of our own abilities, and we're gonna show, because we each have a partner, so we're gonna show this collaboration of another YouTuber's channel. That way you can hit that like and subscribe on their channel, as well as the channel that's introducing them, because the more the merrier. Why not? Power of subscribe. So without further ado, I would like to introduce Llinos, the Lilac Linnet. She's a up and coming booktuber just like the rest of us. She has a cool channel. I've subscribed to her since discovering her, and I watch her videos. So go out there and support her and her channel, along with all the other YouTubers that are part of this collab, and their descriptions to each of their channels will be in the description box below. Llinos, take it away.
Hello, I'm Llinos from the Lilac Linnet. Thanks ever so much to Dro for such a lovely introduction. It's been really fun working with you, and I can't wait to be a part of your channel. Thanks for having me. So let's get on with the tag, because that's what we're all here for. The first question is, what big book do you love? Now, the one that immediately comes to mind for me is one from a few years ago. It's the first in a series. It is the Catherine of Aragon novel in Alison Ware's Six Tudor Queens series. So why in particular am I choosing this book in the series? I think all Tudor fans were hugely excited when Alison, one of the top historians and fiction authors, announced that she was going to be writing one novel on each of King Henry VIII's 6 wives. It was like all our birthdays and Christmases came at once. And Catherine of Aragon, I feel, is a queen that's often overlooked. She was actually King Henry's wife for a bit over 20 years, but I feel that Anne Boleyn, her love rival, is seen as more interesting, and I have to say I've also taken that view previously, but I do think that Catherine deserves a closer look. And this book was such a stunning, beautiful look at her life from her childhood in Spain up until her death. It really makes you sympathise with Catherine, and it was just such an artfully told novel. Definitely one to check out if you're interested in the Tudor Queens at all. And there are currently 3 other books published in the series, with another 2 to go before the series conclusion. And every book in the series is a big one. I think Catherine of Aragon's was over 500 pages, if not longer. So yes, you can definitely get lost in this series and enjoy a really big read. Next up, what is your favourite era in history? And I'm smiling so much because, of course, I've just been talking about a book set in Tudor England, so it's not going to come as any surprise if I say that my favourite era in history is the Tudor period of English history, which took place between 1485 and 1603. So it was a very tumultuous 120 or so years in English history. However, I don't just want to say that that's my favourite period. I do enjoy the Plantagenet period, which is immediately prior to the Tudors. I also enjoy the early 20th century and also the Stuart period, which is directly after the Tudors. The next one is such a brilliant question. Here it is. Is reading like food? Do your tastes change as you grow older? Isn't that such a fun question? And I think I definitely believe that reading tastes do change as you grow older, much as in other parts of life. Your dress sense might change, what career you want may change. I don't think reading is any different, really. Personally, I've always loved certain genres. My love of cosy crime, my love of historical fiction has been with me since I was probably about 11 or 12, so those are standards that I expect to love all my life. There are some tastes that have come and gone. I've dipped into fantasy and paranormal romance. And yes, I'm sure that in the future my tastes will change slightly again and I'll try something else. At the moment, I do love reading thrillers, and that's something that probably 5 years ago I would never have considered reading a thriller, whereas now I just love reading them. Next question. Who is your favourite fictional detective? I have talked about this before on my channel. And my favourite fictional detective of all time is Hercule Poirot. He is, of course, one of the most famous creations of Agatha Christie, the Queen of Crime herself. Poirot is a Belgian detective. Previously, he served in the police force in Belgium. We follow his crime-solving mysteries while he lives in London during the 20s and 30s of the 20th century. He's a very dapper little man who is constantly mistaken for being a Frenchman, which he hates. He has several idiosyncrasies that make him a little eccentric, and in fact, Agatha Christie herself ended up hating who or what she had created. Which book best represents your reading tastes, and why? I'm going to bend the rules slightly on this question and choose an author rather than a specific book. I'm going to go for the Jane Austen canon of 6 novels that she wrote. As an author who has had such a huge effect on literature but wrote a relatively small amount of books, I think I should hopefully be able to get away with doing this. And the reason I'm going to choose Jane Austen is because I was introduced to her when I was about 14 or 15, and really a lot of my other interests kind of sprouted from reading her. I feel that her novels sort of led me towards other historical novels. Of course, Jane Austen was writing as a contemporary in her period, but from her it was only a small step to one of my major loves, such as P.G. Wodehouse, to read other Regency books such as those by Georgia Heyer. I just feel that she's sort of the centre of a web of other authors who I've gone on to enjoy. What's your favourite sci-fi setting, book or otherwise? And boy, am I grateful for the otherwise part of this question, because probably not going to be hugely surprised to hear that I'm not hugely into science fiction books. However, when it comes to TV or film, I'm definitely more open to science fiction. I find it far more accessible as a genre via those mediums than books. And in fact, when I was at school, I watched a lot of Star Trek. You might be surprised, and a few of the different franchises. I'm going to go for Star Trek Deep Space Nine. And that is just a really instinctive answer that I'm going to go with. I just remember enjoying the characters and the setting more than any of the other Star Trek franchises. It's as simple as that. If you could promote one book character into a superhero, who would that be and why? And what would the said power be? This is a fun one. I'm going to go for Bertie Wooster, comic creation by the genius that is P.G. Wodehouse, and I'm choosing him because he already lives with a superhero in Jeeves, and I feel sorry for Bertie, so I'm going to make him into a superhero. If you don't know these characters, Jeeves isn't a literal superhero, but he's treated like one by everyone around him, and he probably believes he is a superhero himself. So I'm going to say Bertie Wooster. I'm going to give Bertie the power to be able to disguise himself successfully, because he does try to impersonate people and it never works out very smoothly. So I would give him this power to be the master of disguise, and in doing so, Bertie would be able to help all his friends as he has such good intentions, and his plans might actually go without a hitch, and he might actually get the credit for giving good advice for once, instead of it always going to Jeeves. Name a book that has had a big impact on you. Wowzers, couldn't we all name about 50? Going with my gut on this, I'm going to choose My Sister's Keeper by Jodi Picoult. She's an author who, gosh, in my late teens, I read prolifically. And My Sister's Keeper is a book that has stayed with me these past 12 years or so. I actually have a specific memory of sitting in bed reading this book and of tears rolling down my face, and I'm not somebody who ever cries at books. This is probably one of maybe only a handful of times I've ever cried when reading a book. And as all Jodi's novels, this is one that really pulls at your heartstrings. It's about a young girl who is having cancer treatment and her sister, who is, well, a match for her when it comes to needing blood and other supplies to help with her treatment. So it's a very moving story, and one that's particularly close to home for me. And yes, those emotions that came up, I can still recall them so vividly after reading the book so many years later. Right, I'm going to leave it there. That was the last question. And I'm going to leave you with Dro again now. Thanks, Dro. Hopefully you'll head on over to my channel to see how Dro answered these questions. Bye.
Well, there you have it. There was the wonderful Llinos, and make sure you go to her channel, the Lilac Linnet. As you can see, her answers to her questions were a little bit different than my own. So go to her channel, see what mine were. But definitely make sure you hit that like and subscribe on her channel. Give her so much ado love and support. And I just want to take this time to just briefly mention all the other wonderful collaborators that are included in this collaboration. So again, this was organized by the Hungry Bookworm, Me, Simone, and I, Charlie Brook, The Reader's Life, Dancing Lawn, Book Invasion, The Lilac Linnet. So make sure you go and check out all their channels, check out all this swapping of answers and seeing how all this works out. This was a lot of fun. The Hungry Bookworm, thank you for considering me. All of you wonderful YouTubers that included me in this wonderful collaboration, I really do appreciate it. I had a blast, and I can't wait for everyone to see all our answers because it's gonna be pretty cool. See where we're alike and where we're not alike. At the end of the day, a lot of good stories for all of you out there to go check out. Thank you. That has been Dro Talks. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. Ring that bell to get notified, and we'll see you next time.